All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're unpacking one of the most brilliant satires in modern literature, Kalki's The Tiger King. It's this amazing story that uses some really sharp humor to talk about power, pride, and just how far someone will go to try and cheat death. We're going to have some fun with this one.
So, I want you to imagine this. You're a brand new crown prince, you're only 10 days old, and all the royal astrologers have gathered to map out your future. The entire kingdom is holding its breath, waiting to hear about the incredible life you're destined to lead.
And the astrologers start with a prediction that is, well, it's not very impressive, is it? A child who is born will one day die. I mean, yeah, obviously. It's such a laughable, basic statement that it almost feels like a joke, until something totally impossible happens.
A voice suddenly pipes up, demanding a real prediction, something that actually makes sense. And who does this voice belong to? Yep, you guessed it, the 10-day-old baby Jelani Jung Bahadur himself. The whole court just freezes. This tiny infant, in a squeaky but perfectly clear voice, is calling out the wisest men in the kingdom. So, pushed by this miracle baby, the chief astrologer finally spills the beans. The real detail, the thing that actually matters, isn't that he'll die, but how. You see, he was born in the hour of the bull, and since the bull and the tiger are like cosmic enemies, his death will come from a tiger.
Now, you'd think a 10-day-old baby hearing this would be terrified, right? Not Jung Bahadur. Oh, no. When he hears his fate, he lets out this deep growl and spits out this terrifying warning. This one moment, it tells you everything you need to know about his massive ego. He literally thinks he can stare down destiny.
So, years go by. The prince grows up, and the moment he takes the throne at 20, that prophecy becomes his life's mission. His entire existence becomes a single-minded quest to prove those stars wrong.
His logic is a perfect example of how absolute power works. If a tiger is supposed to kill me, well, I'll just kill all the tigers first. Simple. So he starts his hunt, kills his very first tiger, and then marches right up to the state astrologer to basically say, "See, I told you so."
And for a while, his brutal plan actually seems to be working. The man is relentless. In this furious, decade-long hunting spree, he racks up an incredible body count, 70 tigers, just in his own kingdom.
His obsession just leads him to these wild extremes. It really shows the craziness of unchecked power. First, he bans anyone else from even looking at a tiger. Then, he almost loses his entire kingdom because he refused to let a high-ranking British officer hunt. He only saved his throne by sending the officer's wife a small fortune in diamond rings. And when his own forests are empty, he tells his minister to find him a princess to marry, with just one requirement. Her state must have a ton of tigers.
So, the king's quest just plows ahead. With every single kill, he's getting closer to his goal. But that final one, the 100th tiger, well, that's where the real trouble begins.
He hits 99. 99 tiger skins are now decorating the walls of his palace. He is one single kill away from what he believes is immortality, from conquering fate itself. You could just feel the tension building, right?
And that astrologer's original warning is just ringing in his ears and in ours. It was never about the first 99 tigers. It was always about that final one. This is the one that's supposed to seal his fate.
But here's the thing. There are no tigers left. The king's rage is getting worse every day, and his staff is terrified. So his minister, the Diwan, in a classic move of self-preservation, does something desperate. He smuggles an old, totally tamed tiger from a city park and just plants it in the forest for the king to discover.
The whole scene is just ridiculous. This poor old tiger literally wanders right up to the king, almost like it's waiting for him. The Maharaja, thrilled that he's finally triumphed, takes careful aim and fires. The tiger collapses instantly. He's done it. He thinks his mission is complete.
Or was it? The king races back to his capital, totally overjoyed, ordering the dead tiger to be brought back for a massive celebration. But is the story really over? Not so fast.
Okay, so this is where the story's satirical genius really kicks into high gear. This is where we get that sharp, perfect, ironic twist.
This is a textbook example of dramatic irony, where we, the audience, know something the main character doesn't. So the king thinks he's a hero, a conqueror of fate. The reality? He missed. The bullet whizzed right by, and the old tiger just fainted from the sheer shock of the sound.
So now the hunters are in a really tight spot. Do they tell the king he missed and risk getting fired or, worse?
Nope. So, to protect themselves, one of them just walks up and shoots the unconscious tiger, making sure the king's delusion, and the irony, stays perfectly intact. Now that the threat is gone, the king finally has time for his family. For his son's third birthday, he buys what he thinks is the absolute perfect gift, a wooden tiger. But it's a cheap toy, really poorly made by someone who clearly wasn't a master craftsman. And while he's playing with his son, a tiny, rough sliver of wood from that toy pierces the king's hand. The wound gets infected. They fly in 3 famous surgeons who perform an operation. They come out and they deliver this iconic, darkly funny line. The prophecy came true. Not from a huge, ferocious beast, but from a tiny sliver of wood. The 100th tiger got its revenge after all. So what's Kalki really getting at here? This story isn't just a funny tale. It's a masterclass in satire, using humor to make a really powerful point about power itself.
When you break it down, the story is really a critique of the unbelievable arrogance of powerful people who think they can bend the world to their will. It uses that dramatic irony, the fact that we know the truth and the king doesn't, to show just how foolish he is. It's also a sharp commentary on how fear makes people flatter and obey their superiors. And of course, it's a really stark look at the casual cruelty we humans can inflict on nature out of pure vanity.
And what makes this story so timeless is how its message still resonates. The Tiger King's obsession was a literal animal, sparked by a prophecy. But it really leaves you with a big question. What are the symbolic tigers, the obsessions, the vanities, the imaginary threats that powerful people hunt down today? And what is the ultimate price of that hunt?